again worthy of publication. These 77 letters, and a few later notes, were saved, wrapped in bundles, and stored in a special cabinet, still in the possession of the Osborne family. Over crisp sheets of paper, Dorothy's elegant cursive hand wrote in measured loops and curlicues of everything that mattered to her, from her deepest hopes and feelings to shopping requests and the gossip of the neighbourhood. Letters were the only means of communication between them, and onto paper she and William poured all their pent-up emotion, their covert rebellion against family, and the thrill of exploring philosophical and political ideas. These love letters were not only powerful tools of seduction, but also revealing of the lovers themselves in the continual ebb and flow of conversation. But history rolled on, and although William's celebrity for a while did not fade, Dorothy and her story remained silent, known only to her descendants, who guarded the letters, recognizing their extraordinary quality, until the Victorians discovered her and fell in love. There is no other word for the emotion she aroused in fine, intellectual Victorian gentlemen such as the great historian and essayist Thomas Babington Macaulay, William's first biographer, the Right Honourable Thomas Peregrine Courtenay, and the first editor of Dorothy's letters, Edward Abbott Parry. All these men declared themselves to be among her servants, that is, suitors for her hand. Courtenay first brought Dorothy to public gaze when he incorporated parts of 42 of her letters in his biography of William, Memoirs of the Life, Works and Correspondence of Sir William Temple, published in 1836. It was in a lengthy essay review that Macaulay revealed his own tenderness for Dorothy of the letters. His description of her character as he saw it, however, showed more his own prejudices. She is said to have been handsome, and there remains abundant proof that she possessed an ample share of the dexterity, the vivacity, and the tenderness of her sex. Though enchanted by the letters, this lofty Victorian still managed to underestimate their great literary and historical value, and patronised the author while he praised her. Her own style is very agreeable, nor are her letters at all the worse for some passages in which raillery and tenderness are mixed in a very engaging namby-pamby. The young barrister Edward Abbott Parry, later to be a judge and knighted, was equally enchanted by the Dorothy who emerged from the shadows in her husband's biography. After publishing his own essay on her, he was contacted by the Long family, descendants of Dorothy's and keepers of her papers, and given permission to edit a book of the letters the family had guarded for so long. Parry's edition of 70 of the letters, Letters from Dorothy Osborne to Sir William Temple, 1652–54, was published in 1888 and enjoyed an immediate success. One anonymous reviewer in Temple Bar expressed a general consensus in hailing a most lovable portrait of a charming and high-souled woman who possessed strong common sense, the clearest judgment, and a keen sense of humour. These 70 letters were bought by the British Museum in 1891. An extra 7 seemed to have been retained by the family, and many published editions of her letters followed, the later ones incorporating all 77. My husband, Nick Ostler, ever a truffle-hunting boor when it comes to second-hand bookshops, turned up one of these editions in Padstow in Cornwall, and immediately my fascination with Dorothy and William and their life began. To my surprise, there has never been a biography of Dorothy Osborne, apart from an elegant but soft-scented essay by Lord David Cecil in his book about her and Thomas Gray, Two Quiet Lives. Dorothy nevertheless has become famous in the history of English literature as an early and brilliant exponent of the epistolary art, but her complex personality and the extraordinary adventures of her life, if they have been mentioned at all, are used merely as context for her letters. William has been better served, his life more public, his achievements recognised in the world of men. There have been a few biographies of him, most notably the first by the Victorian Courtenay, and a judicious and comprehensive modern life published by Homer E. Woodbridge in 1940. They inevitably concentrated on the man, his ideas, and diplomatic career, with Dorothy very much off stage as the silent, supportive spouse. In fact, it was a marriage of intellectual equals, as Dorothy had always intended it should be, and as the more egalitarian Dutch fully recognised when William was ambassador there. It is more interesting and truthful to my mind.